Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. I wanted to share some books that I DNF'd recently. I rarely get very far into a book before not finishing it. I'm kind of the person that will slog through. Usually the books I pick have either been recommended to me from another YouTuber or from Reddit. I very rarely get like personal recommendations. If someone in person recommends me a book, I will definitely finish it. But for now, I'm still sourcing a lot of my recommendations from YouTube and from Reddit. So usually there's a reason I'm reading it, either to understand the zeitgeist or to understand why it's so popular on Book Talk. And I feel like in order to be a legitimate critic, you have to finish the book. So I don't really get people who like won't deign to read certain types of books. I feel like if you're going to understand something, even to criticize it, you have to finish it. But having said that, there are some books that I DNF'd recently. Some of these I feel like I will revisit. It's more just timing and the mood that you're in. But some of them I think I won't, and they're just like not worth the time. So first I want to talk about Post-Birthday World by Lionel Shriver. She's probably more well known for We Need to Talk About Kevin, which was turned into a movie. But I got this book from my friend after he left Singapore, and one of my goals is to finish all of the books I have not read on my bookshelf. So I was trying to make my way through it. The thing about this book though is it's a parallel timeline book. So essentially the whole premise is trying to play out that theme of the impact of a single decision. So it's two timelines for the same character. In one timeline, she stays with her husband, and in the other timeline, she leaves her husband and goes on to marry or get together with another man. Her husband in the original timeline is more reliable. They've been together for a long time, but never married. And then in the other timeline, it's more like the riskier choice. This guy's a snooker player, and she is very attracted to him. He brings out a very bold character to her artwork because she's an illustrator. And so the idea is like, let's play through these two alternate worlds and see, you know, what we can glean from human choices and the role of like fate or like determining your own destiny. So I can definitely see what she was trying to do. The problem is, so the chapters alternate. So you get one chapter in the first timeline, and then you get the same timeline, but a different world. So I guess what I'm trying to describe is that the same events happen. It's not like you're having two stories unfold. Basically, there's the same structure of events that happen in both parallel timelines. It's just that the main character's perspective changes because she's with a different man. And I did like the writing. It's very dense. It's very like kind of overwrought and like full of like musings and reflections. And I feel like some of them are pretty interesting and kind of ironic or sardonic, but it just got too tedious to read the same events happen over and over. And I also think that it was a little bit too heavy-handed. Like the main character's personality completely changed just based on which man she was with. And I just feel like it wasn't necessarily a very delicate handling of this main premise. Like it wasn't so nuanced. I read about 25%, at least the part that I got to. And I understand that like we all have different facets to our personalities and our being, and that's kind of the whole point of this book. But it was almost like in the first timeline she was a reserved, somewhat satisfied person, and then the second timeline she was just completely unreserved all of a sudden and like very reckless. I don't know, I feel like in reality there's more like a middle ground that we all exist in, and then certain things or people or events bring out the different facets. So it just got to be very tedious to like slog through the same things happening over and over. It's good though, because I don't have a good memory. I feel like if it diverged too much, I would get really confused. So maybe there's like a balance there. I did like the writing style though, so I might revisit it just because I own the book, so I don't have to return it to the library. The second book I mentioned in a reading vlog, it's Kairos by Jenny Erpenbeck. It was on the short list, I believe, for the Booker Prize, or maybe it even won the Booker Prize. Let me double check. Okay, no, I think it won a German prize in 2022, but basically my issue with, I only read maybe 20 pages, like very little of Kairos. I was really excited to read it. I think I even gifted it to one of my friends without having read it, because it just had such a good buzz around it, and it really seemed to be one of those novels that takes like a domestic plot and uses that to mirror broader socio-political trends. And I typically like that insofar as I get it and can see the allegory or the metaphor. So the premise of Kairos is this age gap romance between a 19-year-old student and a much older man. And it happens when the Berlin Wall is still up, and there's still West Germany and East Germany. And I think something about their relationship is intended to mirror also the reunification of Germany. But I think for me, it's like two things. One was timing. I had just read Intermezzo before starting Kairos, and Intermezzo also has not one, but two age gap romances in it. One is a younger man and an older woman, which is an interesting inverse. And then the other is a man with a much younger woman. So I think I just had enough of that, especially since Kairos is one where the man is much older. I just feel like, so one, I had just read a lot of like similar themes, but two, I just feel like I just have to be in the right mood. Like I think I'm fine with novels that have, ideas or concepts that push you or stretch you, but not in a row. Like I need to have books that are for pure entertainment value or that really make me happy, sprinkled throughout. So I do think I'll try to revisit Kairos maybe when I'm in a mood that's kind of ready to reflect and be challenged. But at the point in time when I was trying to read Kairos, I was just like, why? Like, why do we have to read like Lolita-like crap all the time still to this day? I just felt very like tired of it as a trope. Okay, so the next book I want to talk about is A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. This one I think was recommended to me on Reddit. Not to me, I was on Reddit and I saw this one recommended. I do kind of have like two buckets of things I like to read. So one is like very speculative fiction, literary fiction, things that will be on the Booker Prize long list or short list, and that I think I'll spend a lot of time on. I'll take notes and hopefully we'll have some sort of insights for these videos. The other bucket is purely just to like make me happy. So that would be like YA, fantasy, romance. And I've been reading a lot more of it recently because a lot of the book talkers on YouTube almost exclusively read that stuff. And for me, it's very hit or miss. Like some things I really like, other things I like can't even get into, like A Court of Thorns and Roses, or what's it called? A Court of Thorns and Roses. Yeah, that's what it's called, by Sarah J. Maas. Like everyone loves that book, and I tried to read it and I was just like, nah, like this is not for me. But these two books that I'm going to talk about now are more in that second camp. So I think A Discovery of Witches was just too young adult in tone for me, and it's told through the first person, and it just came off as like very long-winded. And I hope my attention span is okay, because maybe it's also I've been reading too much too quickly, but I'm pretty cognizant of that. Like there are books that I try to read really slowly, and other books that I'm kind of like, the pacing is off, like let's hurry it up. But I just couldn't get into A Discovery of Witches. I just feel like it was not that well written, sorry. And then next is a romance novel. I heard really good things about Hannah Bonham Young on TikTok. She has a lot of rave reviews from people that seem like I would also like the books that they like. The one I tried to read was called Next of Kin. I think it just isn't the right trope for me. I tend to like very bold or sassy protagonists, and as you guys know, if you watch any of my videos, I really like enemies to lovers. And I think the reason I like enemies to lovers is not even so much the enemy to lovers part, but I just feel like that trope tends to have characters that are very direct and outspoken, whereas the tropes that are like friends to lovers or like marriage of convenience, like those types of things, they're not or like whatever the other tropes are, they tend to be more like sappy almost, and that just makes them feel less realistic. Because I've been trying to think about like, why do I like enemies to lovers so much? And I think it's just because given that trope, you're more likely to get like obviously conflict, but also like confrontation, actual like conversations that have both characters at somewhat of an equal level, which obviously I relate to and enjoy. So I don't think that Next of Kin was that trope. Let me double check. Oh, okay. So obviously the reason I picked it is because it is a little bit enemies to lovers, but it's more like bickering strangers. The tagline is, or the short summary is, two bickering strangers trying to foster their younger siblings team up to create a stable home. Yeah, okay, so I think I'm just not that into domesticity and like, sorry, like having kids and creating a family. But maybe I'll try it again. I think that one I did read on my phone because it was through the Libby app, and I have a Kindle which doesn't support Libby. Hopefully I'm getting a Kubo for Christmas. So sometimes it is hard for me to get into things when I'm on my phone because it's like such a cesspool of distraction. So maybe I'll try to check that one out again. But those are 4 books that I DNF'd. I thought it would be fun to just share some of the books I didn't finish, since if you do follow me on Goodreads or on YouTube, it seems like I read a ton. And I guess I do read a lot. Like, my goal is really not quantity. My goal is quality, and I have always had a bad habit of like skimming or trying to get to the action or even spoiling books for myself. So I am very self-aware of trying to like properly be immersed in books. And so I do think if I DNF a book, it's because of the wrong timing or the wrong mood. And so maybe I'll come back to it. Having said that, I have so many books to read, or so many books I really want to read, both to clear out my physical library behind me, but also just because there's just so many books out there. And I want to be part of the discussion. This is like the only time I feel FOMO. I really don't feel FOMO for social activities. I'd much rather just like be doing what I want to do. But I do seriously have FOMO for books. Like if somebody likes something, I'm just like so excited to read it. So thanks for watching this video. Thanks for following my channel, and I will catch you in the next one.